Oh, Jose, you're still on mute.
Mike,
Double check that.
I keep forgetting I hit my stupid button on my mic.
Yeah, okay.
But for my game, I went The Lion King on Super Nintendo.
Look at that ugly car.
Um, Oh my god. I love the Lion King movie. I love the soundtrack. So of course I had to play the game. And I don't know. I don't think it's as hard as people say. Like maybe it's just me, but I remember having trouble with it as a kid, but after a while, like I could just fly through the game like nothing. And I recently replayed it, and yeah, I could see the annoying parts people might have with it, but it was really good. There's like 10 different levels. I forget how many you are actually young Simba, and then the rest of them you're adult Simba. There's some bonus stages, which those were really fun because I was surprisingly really good at them. But not anymore. I was very disappointed when I wasn't as good on the bonus stage this time around. And what I like too about the game is that like it has this is a bonus game.
Timon, my boy Timon.
Is that it has like the movie soundtrack like in the game, and it also has like these vocalizations in the Super Nintendo version that make it sound like a lot better. But they did add like this level in particular was not in the movie, but I read that this scene was like it was a scene that was scrapped from the final product of the movie. And I always wondered too, like what was going on in this specific scene, because there's at the end there's like this gorilla boss fight that you have to go through, and I was always like, what's the deal with that gorilla? Like, what is this? But the game, it's really fun. The second level is where people have the issue with.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the there you go. I just can't wait to be king level.
The one with the hyenas, okay.
That's be prepared.
Let's be prepared.
I mean, what is so hard about this level?
No, not this level. It's the one. It's the one with the monkeys and the ostrich. That one.
This one.
Yeah.
This one. Catching them tails is hard.
Yeah. See, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what it is with everyone else.
Where do you aim to catch it? And if you don't catch it at a certain point, you fall into the water and you die.
And then this is the second part that people have a huge problem with.
Yeah. Sometimes you can press the B button and jump too high and hit the nest. So sometimes you have to, that bit there. That's it there. So I'm just saying, these are the issues that I have issues with. Another issue I have is the Super Nintendo one. Can you see how cropped that screen is?
Oh my god!
You can see what's happening next. The Mega Drive had a bigger resolution. You can see it. And also, even though the games are both simultaneously developed for both platforms, we know it's a Mega Drive game. This is ported to Super Nintendo, man. That's the truth. You can see it because the screen is cropped. It's just the way it is. But there's also a glitch on this second level where you get caught and you just keep going round and round in circles or something on the Super Nintendo version. But that aside, they're the same game on both systems, and I shouldn't complain too much about it. The sound is what the bigger difference is, and also the Mega Drive version doesn't have when they talk when you get game over on this game, you never did, but if you do get game over, you hear Rafiki talk, and when you press continue, he goes, "The king has returned." And the Super Nintendo, and it's actually their voices from the movie they're using as well.
Yeah,
and that's really good for the Super Nintendo version. Sega Mega Drive, I don't remember it having that. But yeah, as a game, I prefer the Mega Drive version, but I can understand that the finishing on the Super Nintendo is better, and that's why this is probably the better version if you want to add those extra features in. Also, the coloring as well. More colors on Super Nintendo. What I will also say is, the sound. I prefer that clearer sound on Mega Drive, but it's exactly the same soundtrack. But it's really interesting listening to that sound in FM synth, and then you're listening to that muffled MIDI sampling that the Super Nintendo has. And for an audiophile like me, I always prefer the Sega one because sound matters a lot more to me, and I prefer that clear FM synthesis sound from the Yamaha sound chip as opposed to that muffled sound that the Sony SPC 700 gave me. different people have different opinions on that because it's controversial. Because some people like sampled sound; they like to hear real instruments, and that's kind of what the Super Nintendo offers. But there's like a flute playing, like when it should be a different instrument. So they changed an instrumentation, which is my issue with the game on the Super Nintendo. But that's me splitting hairs. Like if you like it, you like it. Anyway, yeah.
Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I've listened to the soundtrack on both. I do like the Super Nintendo one better. That's just me. Oh, I just remembered. And this one, when you're young Simba and you do get hit, you actually hear Jonathan Taylor Thomas' voice.
Yeah.
So it's ow. But like in the other one, in the Mega Drive one, he doesn't say it. It's just a generic sound.
That's what it is on the Mega Drive.
And then to answer JDM's question, did you sing along when you watched The Lion King recently? I always sing along when I watch The Lion King.
That fight, so hard.
I love that soundtrack. I'm not gonna sing, but
the last boss. This is the hardest boss, man. Like, how do you fight Scar, man? You just have to keep going at him, really, and then retreat when you think he's going to come for you. That's basically my tactic when I fought him. But God, he's one of the hardest boss battles, man. I'll tell you that now.
See, I always just go straight for him and pounce him.
Yeah, you just have to go for him, man. That's
yeah.
Because if you play defensive, you're going to lose against Jeremy Irons. He's going to. Yes.
That looks like online cat memes and videos where they just go.
I killed Mufasa.
But my favorite level is probably the Stampede one. I was just really good at it. So yeah.
This is CNN.
That Stampede level, the best one is on the PlayStation because they ported this to PlayStation. And
did they?
Yes, and it's the best port. It's one of the best ports of this game, the PlayStation one, because you have obviously use the enhancements that the PlayStation has as a piece of hardware. And obviously, this game came out in '94. The film came out in '94. PlayStation actually did come out in '94, so you can understand the year coming out on the PlayStation a year later as a release title. So as you can see, there's the Stampede level. You got scrolling on the SNES. Which and then Mode 7 lends itself to this level, but the PlayStation, you can imagine it's a lot smoother because it can handle this like anything, and it's got more of a more detail. Let's put it that way. But yeah, great. Again, this is a good example of a very good game for a movie tie-in. I do think that the balance is off, and that's why I prefer Aladdin to this. Because the second level is just so hard. But once you get past the second level, you can beat the game. That's my opinion. The second level is the biggest obstruction to playing this game for so many people. And that's my criticism with it. Because of how that level shouldn't have been designed to be that hard, in my opinion. But it is. It's a challenge. And it's not hard. It's hard for stupid reasons. And that's to do with the game design when you're trying to catch the tails of the hippos and swing to the other ledge. But you have to catch 3 of them in a row. And if you don't catch and this is the issue that you could argue Aladdin has with the animations, and it's too much animation. You're wondering, where's the grip point? At which point of the tail is Simba supposed to grip? The bottom part, the middle part, the top part, and then you have to make sure it swings in the right place, and you have to time it properly. It's just too much to think about, man. And that's the issue, I think. But I think if you stick with it and you die so many times, which you will do, you'll be as good as this game as this man over here who loves it so much.
And that's how it was back in the old days,
Yeah,
you just kept at it.
It's true. Like there's games that you guys were like, Viraj, you're crazy. This game is too hard. But I've played because I only had so many games back then. I kept dying, and I just had to replay them religiously. Now we're sport for choice, but because I forget this, I'm going to play something else. That's where we're at right now. Forget this. The game's too hard. But if you stick with it, it's good. And one thing I did with the Mega Masters, Sedan tasked me to play Revenge of Shinobi and Ghouls and Ghosts the other 2 years ago. I said, no, you got to beat it because we've got to review the game. So they forced me to play this game. These guys have beaten these games. These guys are pro. And I did die a lot. I thought, how the hell, man? This game is too hard. But if you stick with it and you keep going at it, you can become good at it. And Lion King is one of those games. There are parts where you're going to have a difficulty spike, and you're going to feel like, oh, why am I playing this? I'm going to give up on this. But there's a good game after that difficulty spike. There's a good game in this.
And Reiki boils it down perfectly. Yeah, Viraj. because it's the circle of life. You know,
You come back, right? So you got to stick with it. You just got to stick with this game, because I think the biggest turnoff will be the second level for a lot of people playing it. Just stick with it, and then you'll find once you get past that second level, it's smooth sailing. That is until you have to fight Scar at the end, but that's another story. Good game, in my opinion. It's a good choice, Lion King. Glad you liked it. Good game by Westwood Studios, Virgin, and Sega, because I think Westwood and Virgin worked together on this one, strangely enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, great little game.